like I remember my taxi driver dropped me somewhere and I literally had to drag my bag all the way up this huge hill to get
Oh,
to the bed and breakfast that I was deciding to stay in.
yes.
And I had never, not that I didn't do enough research or anything. I just kind of thought like this is sort of the area I want to be in Valparaiso and whatever. And, I probably could have stayed at a place that wasn't going to kill me before I got there. But where I was near what they call the Strait of Magellan.
Okay. So
So,
that's the bit underneath South America,
yeah,
between there and
yeah,
the Antarctic.
right. Exactly. On your way to Antarctica, right? Through
Yes. Was it on that trip that you met Noel?
yes, it was on that trip that I met Noel.
Mm. So you're literally on the same cruise.
We were literally on the same ship. It's interesting because we choose where we're going to go, not because of, weather. We could go somewhere and I always have to remind him, honey, that's really nice, but we're going to be freezing our butt off there at that time of year
Yes.
because he has
Yeah.
this thing about, plus he also doesn't realize that doesn't remember that just because it's summer where he is, that at that time of
Going
year
to be
it's
winter
nice in other
somewhere else.
places. It makes me laugh sometimes. But I'm
Yes.
like, honey, like it's going to be raining all the time. Like, do you want to have 30 days of rain or, you know what I mean? Or like sometimes
Yeah.
I just have to remind him
Well,
of,
that's
of
hurricane
things like
season
that.
or
And
something.
then he gets there and he'll go, it's fine, it's fine. And then we get somewhere and then he's like, but I didn't bring a warm coat. Well, like,
I told
you know
you.
what I mean? I told you, bud. Like,
Yeah. So did you get together almost immediately, or did you just sort of gravitate toward each
I'll
other
tell you
on the
because, and it's interesting, I remember a lot about it because obviously I met him on that trip, right? I probably
Mm,
wouldn't remember as much about that trip because of that, right?
mm,
Believe it was around the 18th of December, and I went to Santiago, flew to Santiago, and then you make your way to Valparaiso.
mhm.
And Valparaiso is very interesting because it's got like sort of narrow streets and it's big hills and like I remember my taxi driver dropped me somewhere and I literally had to drag my bag all the way up this huge hill to get
Oh,
to the bed and breakfast that I was deciding to stay in.
yes.
And I had never, not that I didn't do enough research or anything. I just kind of thought like this is sort of the area I want to be in Valparaiso and whatever. And, I probably could have stayed at a place that wasn't going to kill me before I got there. But I stayed there for, I think it was a day or
Hmm.
whatever, too. And then I made my way to the ship. So I believe it was either like the 18th when I arrived, and I think I got on the ship on the 20th or on the 19th. So it could have been 17 to 19 or 18 to 20.
Yeah,
Long story short, was in those 4 days that I arrived in Chile.
mm,
And then I went to the port and I got on the ship.
right.
And I met him literally 4 days later
Yeah.
on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
Actually on the ship.
after the fact,
Mm.
I kind of laughed because I said, his name is Noel. You
Oh,
spell
Christmas.
this Noel. In
Yes.
French, Noel is Noel.
Noel.
Noel means Christmas. Now, I had gone on this trip with in a couple that I had traveled with before.
Okay.
I was with them on this trip. And what our routine sort of was that before we would go to dinner, and he loved to eat in the dining room. So it was a little bit nicer than just eating in the, with, like the buffet or whatever,
Yeah.
or grabbing
Yeah.
pizza or whatever. So, we would get dressed. But what I would do is I would go to their cabin and we would have drinks because as I said, they were a little wealthier, so they would have really nice cabin that was had a huge balcony and also, I mean, they literally had a couch in like a large full-size couch in their cabin. So
Wow.
it was one of these suites, okay? Let's call it a
Yeah.
suite on a ship, which
Yeah.
is a lot of space on a ship.
Isn't it?
So long
Yeah.
story short, I used to laugh because it was over Christmas, and so they brought like decorations for the thing and a little tree, and we each brought Christmas gifts, and
Oh,
so we were
yes.
exchanging gifts on Christmas Day and everything. So it was a lovely time that I
Mm.
had with them, and then they had this beautiful balcony for us to be able to go out and take pictures, especially when we're in Antarctica. It was amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
And they called that couch Rosa's couch. Funny. It made me laugh because I would come in and sit on the couch every day and we chit chat and then we'd go out
Yeah.
on the balcony and anyway, it was lovely. Anyway, when on Christmas Eve, so every our routine was that I would go there at some point before dinner and we'd have drinks in their cabin. Then we'd go to play trivia. They'd have this nightly trivia.
Oh, wow.
And
Yes.
she was a teacher, and
Yeah.
for many years, she was retired by then, but she was a teacher. He was a principal,
Mm-hmm.
both extremely, extremely well educated,
Yes.
like extremely
Mm.
well educated. Like I felt like an idiot by comparison.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Okay, but I loved being with them, and he was also extremely witty. Oh,
Mm.
I really love witty people. Like, I don't know, there's something about it intellectually that just stimulates
Mm.
me when the wit is there and I get it, right? So
Mm.
anyway, so we would always play trivia because between with the three of us, he and she had so much knowledge of certain things, and I had different knowledge than they did. Okay.
Yes.
So the knowledge combined really would allow us to do fairly well in this trivia game. Now,
Mm.
normally when you're on these things and they have trivia, they make you form a team. So you go to, let's say
Okay.
you go to wherever it is that they're holding it in this bar or in this
Yeah.
location or whatever. So you arrive and we'd be three, and then maybe you hook up with a few people because you meet some other people there. You form a team of 7 or 8 people. I can't remember how many it was,
Mm.
but suffice it to say it was more than 3 or 4 people.
Yes.
Um, and so since I had traveled with them before, we would always do this, right? So it's kind of like a bit of our
Yeah.
routine together. And one of the things was that, you know, he, he, he was okay to form teams with certain people,
Mm.
but it couldn't just be anybody for him. All
All
right.
right. Yeah.
So, and anyway, what was interesting was that that year we got to the, trivia or whatever, and he was kind of like, oh my God, please don't tell me we're gonna have to meet people like last year or the time before that, So he was like,
Yeah.
let's just play ourselves. Who cares? We don't have a team of seven. Or
Yeah.
we don't have a team of eight. I don't care. Let's just play ourselves.
Right.
So I
Yes.
was like, I don't really care. At the end of the day, I'm
Mm.
okay with it too. Let's just, let's form our own little team. We won't get maybe as many answers because obviously the more brains you have, the more answers you get and the possibility
Yes.
of getting more.
Yes.
But we didn't care because it wasn't like this big competitive thing. Although they did give prizes, but they were bogus prizes that, they would give
Mm.
for the wins. So we didn't really care about that. But it was just really for our own knowledge and for us being able to see how much we know
Yeah.
and whatever. Anyway,
Yes.
long story short, we go to do this trivia on the night of the 24th, which is
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, before we're going to dinner in our usual thing. Before we would go to dinner, we'd go to play trivia. And we went to this location. It was in a bar or something, or at least there was a bar nearby where the trivia
Yeah.
was being held. And Noel actually liked trivia as well.
Ah.
But
Yes.
he didn't want to play with anybody, so he was sitting at the bar
Mm.
doing it himself
Oh, okay. On his own.
on his own.
Right.
And it's very, very interesting because I remember us sitting at a little table like we would do, with our drinks and what
Mm.
have you. And I remember seeing him. And the first thing I thought to myself is, oh, wow, it may be somebody more my age. I noticed him
Mm.
because he was younger.
Right. And
And
sat on his
but I
own.
I kind of caught a glimpse of him and then I just didn't think anything of it.
Mm.
Not because whatever reasoning. I just put my head down and started playing and we were talking and
Yeah.
blah 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 and doing our
Yeah.
usual thing that I was enjoying with.
Mm.
And I don't know how it happened if he, the in the couple of my friends, either got up and he went to the bar, or Noel and he for some reason caught each other's eye. I don't know. Maybe Noel was checking me out too. I'm gonna throw that
Oh, a
in
younger person.
because I do feel he checked me out and he saw me and he was coming over, whether he wants to admit that or not. Um,
Right.
but basically in a nutshell, they started talking.
Ah,
And
okay.
my friend, he invited Noel to come join us for dinner
Whoa. And was
because we
Noel
got from
traveling?
trivia to dinner. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing is in our dining room, we're three. So they put
Yeah.
you at a table that seats four.
Yes. So there's
Okay.
always a spare seat.
Right. So there was space for him there. So John invited him and we
Hmm.
went to dinner and what have you. And he came to dinner and we hit it off.
So was he traveling on his own,
Yes,
Noel?
yes,
He,
100%. He was on his own.
oh, right.
Came to dinner, and long
Mm.
story short, after dinner, when my friends went back to their cabin and they didn't stay up, he and I stayed up. We
Yeah.
talked. We had some drinks in the bar after dinner, a different bar. Then he
Yeah.
invited me to his cabin, and we had a really nice, like enjoyable talk and discussion and other things in his cabin.
Woohoo.
But it was very interesting because it was from that time that
Mm.
we spent our time together, but it wasn't full time. So he was being trying to be a bit more independent, like, because basically my friend said, listen, we have a table for four. You can come every night if you'd like. And he was very much like that. He was very generous and very, what wanted to spend time with people. So he was like, it's an open invitation. You can come
Yeah.
as many nights as you like. You can
Right.
come every night. We're here at this time. We always come to
Yeah.
dinner at this time. Blah, blah, blah. We played trivia, whatever.
So
And
is that included in the cost of the cruise, eating there?
the food, all your food is, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So, basically he came, that's how we met. And we did sort of spend time on and off throughout that cruise. But as it got more and more from sort of New Year's onward, so like
Mm.
the first 5 or 6 days, he was kind of like in and out, but he started to spend more time with me.
Right.
And like I'll give you an example, like on New Year's, he was like, we're like, well, we're, going to um the party because it was New Year's
Yeah.
Eve. Okay.
Yes.
And would you like to join us? And he's like, oh, well, I'm having dinner with that because at that time when you're single,
Mm.
they would sit you at a table in the dining room with other people, so they take a bunch of people to fill a table, if you know what I mean.
Got you. Yes.
Meanwhile, we'd have a table of four and it would just be the three of us, and that would always be our table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got you.
And with
Mm.
no one else there because first of all, they had spent so much money on that cruise line. They had already gone around the world twice with them.
Oh,
So
wow.
so
Yeah.
they were considered like what they call five-star mariner, which means that their loyalty program, they had so many points and everything, whatever. Anyway,
Yes. Yes.
and then on New Year's, he was like, well, I'm gonna go to the dinner with these people. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm not pushing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
because I just was like, too, it was a little bit of push and pull going on there. So I just said, you know what? Enjoy yourself. Have a lovely evening.
Mm, yeah.
Well, sure enough, before midnight, he showed
Mm.
up at that party and he came to sit
Oh.
right beside me.
Oh. Oh.
So he could kiss me at midnight. And then, sort of from that day after, we spent a lot of time
Mm.
together.
Okay.
And it was, yeah, it was at the end of that trip that, we exchanged details and we made a plan that, I would come to Australia so that,
Yeah.
I had never been. So it would not only be an opportunity for me to start to see a bit of Australia, but to
Mm.
spend time with him and get to know him. And then roughly 6 months, no, not 6 months, 4 months later, he came to
Mm.
Canada because he had never been to Canada.
Right. Yes. Oh.
So,
And the rest is history,
and
as
the
they
rest is
say.
history.
Yes, except
And
for sort of 20,
10 years later, here
yeah,
we are.
except for during the pandemic 2020, 21, you didn't see him for about 18 months, did you then?
Right. It was about 18 months I didn't see him yet.
Yeah. Interestingly, ironically, a friend of mine that I speak with, who I went to school with, and we've picked up since 2021, 2020, started speaking, and we hadn't seen each other since the last time I'd actually seen her was at her wedding in 1981, and we'd completely lost touch. And then we met up online again. She met her current partner on a cruise to the Antarctic.
Mm,
And I just go, how does this, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I find it's quite incredible that I know people like
Because
it's
that's a
not
little bit rare, right? Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And there's you,
And yet you know two people that this
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Mind you, she lives a bit closer toward her partner. He now lives two bungalows down from her.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Well, he actually bought a bungalow where she was living, and then she's bought the bungalow two doors down. And so they literally live. They've been together similar, I think maybe even longer than you have. But I just think it's quite ironic
It
that
is.
I know two couples that have met on a cruise to the uh, Antarctic.
Yeah.
I need to go on. No, I don't need to meet anyone.
You
I was,
what?
I was going to say I need to go on a cruise if I'm going to meet someone. Then I'm thinking, no, I don't need to meet anyone. I'm happy as I
You're
am.
happy? Okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
I can't.
Listen, you know what? It doesn't have to be a love thing at our age.
No,
You
no.
know, it's
Mm,
companionship is important, I think,
yeah, yeah.
right?
But there are people that
It's
I
nice
know
to
that I've
share.
been
It's
chatting
nice
with.
to share.
Mm,
This is the thing I always found because I was alone for quite a number of years.
yeah,
And mainly that's because I had a terrible breakup.
right. Yes, you have said about that.
We talked about that, and that terrible breakup really took a bite out of me as a person and
Mm.
I think
Esteem.
yeah, my
Esteem.
esteem. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it took such a bite out of me that I was just like, I didn't put myself out there for a very, very
Mm.
long time.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, and
So you weren't even looking when you met Noel, were you?
I think by then had been starting to look, and I was
Okay.
a little bit pissed off that I wasn't. And I
Mm.
distinctly remembering yelling at all the dead people before I went away. So all the
What?
people in my family who had passed,
Yes. Yeah.
I was, both my parents had passed by then,
Yeah.
and I was yelling at my parents and all my grandparents and everybody who's supposed to be on the other side, who's supposed to be helping you. And I believe I distinctly remember about 2 weeks before I kept saying, okay, if I'm not supposed to be somebody with somebody and you want me to be a nun, just let me know.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So there was that
And
thought
I yelled at them to
in
say,
the
you know what?
process.
I really do want to meet somebody on this trip. I said I'd like
Oh.
to kiss somebody on New Year's Eve.
Right. So you had already sent the energy out into the universe, the thought. Interestingly, I hit 30, my 30th birthday, which is a long time ago. Up until then, I've been doing my own thing, running my own business, riding horses, blah, blah, blah. I hit 30 and I suddenly went, oh, I'm on my own. I think it's my mindset changed. And I think I need to meet somebody. I feel like I'm almost going to be on the shelf type of thing. And that year is when I met Nick, who ended up as my husband and then my ex.
But sort of, so, when I was talking about companionship, like one of the things I realized was part of the reason why I was saying, um, could you guys please help me? Why I was yelling at them literally
Yes.
was because, not because I didn't want to be alone anymore, because,
Mm.
I've been alone a lot of my life. Like I'm pretty
Mm.
I think this is my life experience in this lifetime, and what I need to
Yeah.
learn. Part of it is that.
Okay.
But
Need to be
it was
self-sufficient.
because one of the things I noticed was because before I met him, I would travel a lot too, anyway, by
Yeah.
myself. And one of
Yes.
the things I hated doing, or I would do, is when you see something you've never seen before and you go, oh my God, look at that.
And there was nobody to share it
And
with.
there was nobody there to say that to.